Hello and welcome to another edition of the Stench of Truth. I do not want to make this into a masturbation of conspiracy theorizing, and I'm only going to comment as far as I am at this point regarding the shooting at the Batman premiere in Aurora, Colorado. I will note a few things and I will make some commentary based on the facts as I know them now. First of all, I find it rather interesting, at least as of this point, that the total number of dead is 12, which is the same as the number of dead in Columbine, which is not too far away. There are many questions as to the events and how they occurred that we do not know yet. So it is useless to try and gin up some kind of conspiracy theory to decide how all of this went down. Were there other people involved? How did the man get into the theater? Did he in fact have tear gas? If he did, how did he obtain it? I don't think you can buy that anywhere. There are many questions. I did note a connection that this person who did the shooting in Colorado was involved in biological studies and in some neurological program. And I did also note that that was something that he had in common with the other crazy person who not so long ago shot up the Western Psychiatric Hospital in Pittsburgh. Also had a background in biology and neurological studies. Now, first of all, one thing I do want to say is that the notion that a supposed false flag, MK Ultra, whatever you want to call it, operation that might be carried out by the government in order to support the idea of passing some sort of draconian gun control laws is totally ludicrous in my view. And I'll tell you why that is. Because the people who are in charge like the fact that this country is awash in guns. It works in their favor. They do not want to ban guns. They do not want to get rid of guns. They're not going to pass some draconian measure that's going to take away your guns, because that's only going to create problems for them. So this is not about gun control. And the reason that's the case is because guns are like pacifiers for people. And if you look around to people who have a lot of guns, I'm sure you know at least one person that has several weapons. Chances are very good that that person is rather boisterous and blustery when it comes to talking about things that are going on in the country, etc., etc. But they don't actually do anything. They are not active. They do not protest. They do not engage in any kind of discourse in the public arena in order to further their own agenda or their own ends. Instead, what they do say, and what they will say repeatedly whenever they're confronted with the idea that maybe the United States is turning into a police state and maybe we're already living in a fascist-dominated country / corporation, that if anybody tries to come and get them, they have their guns and they won't succeed. And that's basically how it works. They have their guns, they're pacified, they don't do anything. They are not a threat to the regime. They're not a threat to the fascist overlords. So they like the fact that there are guns all over the place in this country. And you can go out and buy a gun in any place. It's a good thing to them, because it pacifies the public. It makes them inactive. It makes them inert. And it makes them not be engaged in trying to actually change things. Instead, they'll sit at home with their guns all stockpiled with their ammunition and everything else and do absolutely nothing. And the vast majority of them, if it did come to it, and the jackbooted thugs did actually show up at their door, which is not going to happen, but if it did, they would gladly turn over said weapons rather than risk being killed. Because they're armchair, what would you call it? They have armchair bravery. And it's no good if it's not being used where you actually are facing some sort of possible backlash to yourself. And that's part of the reason why they never get involved and they never do anything. So, whatever the incident in Aurora, Colorado is, it has absolutely nothing to do with passing some kind of gun ban. Now, there are a lot of other questions surrounding this. Certainly, there is this thing with his mother who was apparently awoken to the knowledge that her son might have been involved in this shooting, and apparently with rather little information verified that yes, this was the person that they were talking about, which led me to believe that she had some inkling that some kind of I don't know, some kind of outbreak was possible coming from her son. There is an allegation that someone posted, absolutely anonymous, could be totally fictitious and made up, that supposedly this individual had been molested by his father. Again, I'm not saying this is fact. I'm saying that this was anonymously posted to Craigslist and provided to me, and that in the wake of the Jerry Sandusky trial and the pedophilia allegations that were brought against him, that supposedly the father told the son, once again reinforcing the idea that he needed to keep his mouth shut because he didn't want to end up like Sandusky or something to that effect, and perhaps he snapped as a result of that. Again, please listen to what I'm saying. This has not been verified in any way and could be completely made up. I'm just putting it out there. Okay? Now, as has been noted by some other people, looking into the backgrounds of the father and the son, there is some possible connection to the military. Absolutely not proven to my satisfaction. There was also in that Craigslist posting the idea that this had some sort of connection to the Church of Satan, which, again, sounds overblown and completely just hype nonsense. And absolutely no proof for that has been offered. It's just being thrown out there. So there are some other things. Supposedly this guy dyed his hair red and called himself the Joker. Why go to all the trouble of having body armor and gas masks and being heavily armed with thousands of rounds of ammunition and then meekly surrender to police? It seems as though he was planning on having some sort of extended shootout and was going to go down in a hail of bullets from the police. But instead he was taken rather peacefully, as has been noted, which calls into question the build-up and the ramping up and all of that. So there are definitely questions that surround this, and I'm not prepared to say anything at this point except to say that there was a terrible tragedy that happened in Aurora, Colorado, where many people were shot, 12 people were killed, many people are still in the hospital, lots of people were wounded, and lots of lives have been damaged and fractured as a result of this. There are lots of ways that this could go, but I'm going to tell you one thing right now, and I'll reiterate it again. There is no way that this is in any way connected with any kind of stupid gun control nonsense, because that is the last thing that these people want. Because if they pass some kind of law tomorrow that makes it illegal to have guns, you will have some uprising. You will have some resistance. It won't be this massive revolt, but it will send ripples through the populace. They like the fact that people in the United States have guns. They like it because it's a pacifier. It makes people think they're safe. And it makes people sit at home and not do anything. So, as far as Alex Jones ranting about this, of course, again, he gets it wrong. This is not anything to do with gun control. So that much I can say for sure. What else could it be? Well, it could be just about anything. It could just be a simple fact of somebody in a stressful situation deciding to do something rather heinous and terrible. Someone having a psychotic break. It could be some kind of nefarious program gone wrong or gone right. We simply don't know. At this point, speculating any further than the barest minimum of facts that we have is, as I said, conspiratorial masturbation. So when I have more to say that is concrete and backed up with more research and facts, I'll bring it to you. But I can say conclusively that this is no kind of government psyop operation in order to bring in some kind of draconian gun law. You can take that to the bank. So when I have more to say on this issue, I will. But as of right now, my heart goes out to the families of the people who lost loved ones and to all the other people who are suffering from wounds and their families and friends who care for them. And I hope everyone who watches this will say a prayer for them and think about them. And you'll note that I'm not even saying the name of the shooter here because I do not want him to get any more publicity or even speak his name. Because if he is just a crazy person trying to get attention, I'm not going to give it to him. So until further facts developed, that's all I have to say on the matter. Thank you. Good night.